The number one tip that any drawing improvement resource will give you is that practice, practice, practice. There's no escaping that fact. It's been proven time and time again that it works. But depending on your experience, just knowing that you need to practice may bring more questions and confusion rather than answers. After watching this video, you will have some clarity and direction to be able to start practice drawing in a way that you will see improvements over time. Now, before you even put pen to paper or paint to canvas, etc., I believe the most important thing before all of that even starts is intention. Having clarity on intention will 95% answer any questions before you even start. And it really gets you into that big picture thinking. I like to think of intention as the destination, the big picture. And intention should be used to guide or drive your car of practice to the destination that you want to go to. I think having some small awareness of goals up front is 100% crucial. And one good thing to remember is that the intention is yours that you create. Only you can really decide on what your intention is. Basically, any resource that tells you that you should be doing this one particular thing and you follow that to gospel is not a good resource in my opinion, because intention really depends on what goals that you have in mind. If your main goal is to draw portraits and it's telling you to learn 100% all the perspectives, it's not really aligning with what your actual drawing goal is. Your actual drawing goal is to draw portraits. So you really only have to focus on facial features and the anatomy of that. That's what you should mainly practice, not really perspective, if that's your goal. Now, if your goal is to do like cars or something, having the intent of learning perspective should be there, or practice perspective should be there. I want to focus a lot on intention in this video, especially. I also have a previous video on intention. Make sure you guys see that. But intention isn't just before you start drawing. It's throughout the whole process. Basically, every single mark that you make is some sort of intent. And if you're not aware of this intent, then the marks that you make may not 100% align with what your drawing goal is. If your drawing goal is to sketch a face and you're not really intentional about how you want to place these marks, then 9 times out of 10, you may have a drawing that comes out in a way that you're not expecting. Me personally, I do have a practice where I do draw without any intentions at all, and it's just free flowing. But if I want to practice drawing, I always try to think of my intent or have a reason of why, the way I set up my outlines, my sketch, etc., my construction, all of that. So during drawing, what the intent is, even before I start drawing, I start thinking about those bigger problems that I have to solve early on. So I'm thinking, okay, what shapes do I see? Where are the shadows, facial features? How am I gonna do this and that? And I kind of solve all of those beforehand and have some type of plan before I even put my pen to paper. Depending on how many of those questions I answer up front, the more smoothly I feel my drawings and sketches go. And I have a lot more fun towards the end of the sketch as well. I think where intention really plays its biggest role are those early stages of a drawing or a sketch where you're putting placement in the sketchbook. You're thinking about composition. You're thinking about maybe perspective, where things are gonna go. You're thinking about shapes, forms, all of that stuff. But yeah, basically intention for me early on is really about solving those big picture problems and having some type of compass to go off of as I'm going throughout my sketch. And then when it comes to like those minor details and connecting everything together at the end, that's all kind of intuitive finessing on my part. So while I'm actually drawing, my biggest thing that I'm trying to focus on is making sure that I'm present and focused. And when it comes to drawing, I try to treat drawing the same way I would playing a competitive game. Me personally, I play a lot of League of Legends, play a lot of fighting games, and those type of games require you to act and react in a moment-to-moment basis. I treat drawing the same way, where once I put a mark down, I have to look at the mark that I made and react to how that mark interacts with the rest of my drawing. It's being able to, on a moment-to-moment basis, make a mark, think about it, see how what you just did interact with what you've already drawn, and then make adjustments along the way. So once you start drawing for a while, you start seeing these same movements, these same problems, these same things that you have to solve time after time. Fundamental problems pop up basically with every single drawing that you do, no matter what the subject is. So that's why in this video, I'm not really talking about subjects or what you should draw. The basis of everything really comes down to fundamentals. So what I try to do is, with every sketch that I make, I try to focus on some type of fundamental concept that comes up with the subject that I'm drawing. So let's say if I'm drawing a portrait, the fundamental concepts that I draw with a portrait would probably be focused on construction of the head, anatomy of the head, and lights and darks depending on how I want the sketch to look. If I wanted to have this painterly look, then I'd focus on value and shape. If I wanted to have more so of this 3D super constructive look, then I'd focus on actually doing the underlying construction, maybe with the Loomis head or some variation of that, and actually focus a lot more on that. But the subject, it really doesn't matter. It's really applying those fundamental concepts constantly with every single sketch and being able to have those run as background processes in my mind where I solve those intuitively, where, yeah, I know the problems are there, but I'm not really thinking about the problem because my brain just already knows how to solve these problems through doing it so many times. It's like multiplying. If I say what's 2 times 2, you don't really have to think about that. It's just going to be 4. You've solved that problem so many times, it's just intuitive fact to you. Since you've solved 2 times 2 equals 4 so many times, when it comes up in a different math problem that's a lot more advanced than basic multiplication, you don't have to spend a lot of mental energy in trying to solve 2 times 2. You just automatically, so you can focus on the bigger problem at hand with those more advanced math problems. Drawing is the same thing. If you've done a lot of line control and line confidence exercises already where it's intuitive to you, that's one less thing that you really have to focus on consciously while you're drawing. So since my focus is actually trying to draw to improve, I try to have some type of objective. I try to look at my sketches in an objective but critical way. And what I mean by this is I try to point out fundamental mistakes that I might have made during a sketch or a drawing. And what that mistake might have been, it really doesn't matter in the sense of me identifying with it. I try not to have any type of emotion. I try not to have any bad emotion towards it. I just kind of point it out and say, hey, it is what it is. Like, for example, I get noses wrong on the portrait a lot. And sometimes I would call it trash, but me calling it trash is really not me identifying or saying, oh, my art or my ability is trash or I'm a trash person. It's more so, hey, it was just a bad sketch and I kind of just move on. I try not to identify with the mistake. I just kind of point it out, and then I try to be constructive with it as well and actually point out what it was or what changes that I can actually make in avoiding that issue earlier, or just point it out in general, like what went wrong. Like, maybe the nose is off because I have it pointed in the wrong direction, or it's not really connecting to the other features of the face in a way where it all is cohesive together. So stuff like that, where I objectively call it bad, but I objectively look at possible solutions to be able to move forward. It's all about progress and moving forward, because at the end of the day, the mistakes are going to happen. It's literally impossible to avoid any type of mistakes, especially in drawing. So it's being able to look at the mistakes, find ways to correct it, and move forward. And then finally, the most important, even though it sounds cliche, is actually find a way to enjoy it. Like I've said a couple times, I kind of look at drawing in a way that I look at competitive video games where, yeah, I'm taking it serious, but like it's not super serious where my life is dependent on it, right? I'm gonna take those risky plays. I'm gonna take that risky mark and see what happens. And it's all about being present and aware that things are actually happening while you're drawing. Yeah, that's basically how I practice drawing. I didn't want to be super specific. I didn't want to have to tell you what to do, because you all have your own goal of particularly what you want to draw, and we are going to draw different things. That's why I focus a lot on the intention. Really understand what your intention is when it comes to drawing, because based off that intention, you already know exactly what you want to draw. Having a resource that's telling you you have to do this or you have to do that when it's not really in alignment of what you want to do, I don't find that a good resource. So hopefully this helps you. I appreciate everybody for watching this video. I'll catch you in the next video. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Do all that good jazz. I don't want to have to beg. Don't make me beg now, please. Don't make me beg. I'm begging. Come on. But I'll catch y'all in the next video.